Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, so I guess this is going to be one of my first build layouts that I'm hoping to do in New World. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in the game in comparison to what I do in ESO. But nevertheless, I do own the game, so I will be playing it. But eventually, what I want to do is I'll probably get back into tanking. I always main tank most games, and except ESO, I ended up being a healer. But I always go PvP in the end game, and because that's where I spend a lot of time. Now, what I got here is a New World calculator. I put a link in the description below for you guys so you guys can check it out. It is mobile friendly as well. The only thing about it is we don't have a gear layout yet. So it is what it is. But the attribute points, you gain attribute points by leveling, but you also just leveling up to 60. But you also gain attribute points in New World by doing your trades as you level those. And when you can accumulate a total of 200 attribute points, it seems. So I do encourage anybody to do your trades, even if you're going to put attributes, to level that. Eventually what you're going to find is you're going to accumulate more, then you can respec, and then you can maximize your attribute points more effectively. So we're going to go dual stats, and I think for the most part that's what you're going to be fixated on, though gear is going to be a contributing factor when it comes to the other stats. And you'll see here we have different effects when it comes to these attribute points, because if you only have 200, how do you get past it? Well, you get it through gear, so that will obviously lend itself, whatever. So we always know dex is a critical factor, right? This is really really important. And one of the strengths about New World is what? Customization of your builds. That's always going to attract PvPers. The more customization they have, the more they can manipulate these stat pools. The more it's going to benefit individual players. And the only game that currently does that, that's on the market, that doesn't even do it this effectively, is Elder Scrolls Online. Now, with that being said, I think this game's going to do well in a PvP environment. PvE, it's going to be up to a lot of different contingencies, whether or not it succeeds in PvE. I think there will be players who enjoy it, but I just don't think there's enough there to sustain like players from World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy. It's just not going to be their cup of tea. But for PvPers, any hardcore PvPer, this is going to be the attraction. Okay? And it's also going to bring crafting into play, because crafting in this game is relevant. It's not faux pas. It's not an afterthought just to have it. It's relative into the game. Why? Because there's gear, degradation. The gear will, need replaced. So it makes crafting a very important. Now, there's a couple things I don't personally like. I'll leave that up to another video. But we're going to go ahead with the first weapon, which is the sword and board. Any tank. The way I've spec'd this is for a self-sustain effect, where I will focus in on a few plate for mitigation purposes, But the rest, what I want to do is build up the dex through some pieces to obtain just enough into some of the critical modifier, right? So basically, that's what I want to acquire. Okay, I'm not necessarily whatever, but that 50 points will increase into the critical modifier. So we're going to go with Shield Rush, Shield Bash, and Final Stand for our 3 abilities. We're going to pick up the passives into the mitigation, into the Study Shield, Elemental Resistance. Then we'll take the improved rush. On successful hit, all enemies within 5 meters gain 10% weakening. That's going to be important for the Great Axe. We're also going to go with Final Blow. The third attack of your light attack deals 30% more damages and causes more threat. It's a threat generator, and it's going to have a nice damaging boost to it. We're going to go with the Intimidating Rush. On successful hit, all enemies within 5 meters are 30% slowed. Now, it's very important that we're going to CC with this build, because we can utilize this in PvE, and then for PvP, we have CC mechanics down. So it'll have a dual effect. Because we're going with self-sustaining, we're going to improve our final stand all the way down to restoration. Gain 15% of your max health when final stand ends. Okay. On Constitution, what you'll see is the higher you scale, the more effects you're going to get. The 300 points to me is going to be overkill in this build. You know, it's just going to be very, overkill. Even the 250, 80% damage reduction when full health. Okay? So my goal isn't to necessarily hit even the 250, because the mitigating effects don't proceed past the 200 point. So we get a plus 20 increase to the armor, but anything past that doesn't really affect into our mitigating effects. So this is where dexterity is going to come into play, reallocating into the gear perspective to do what? Increase critical effects. And I'll show you guys why in a second. All right. And then, of course, we're going to, because we are going with the self-sustain, we want to go with Fortitude while holding a sword. Current and max health are increased by 10%. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to go with Recuperation. All incoming healing and regeneration increased by 10%. Now, it's kind of important to understand these effects only apply when that weapon is active. So if I switch to the Great Axe or another weapon of choice, these passives that apply to when you're holding like the weapon no longer apply. Anything that says while you're holding, like right here, anything that says while holding, that will not apply. Okay, so just heads up, just take note that anything that says while holding will not apply. All right, secondary weapon is the Great Axe. Reaper is going to be our pull. We're going to go really heavy into the passives into this build. We're going to take Maelstrom for a nice AoE effect and pull. For the big CC, Gravity Well is going to have a nice pull effect. But, I just want it for another pull. We're going to go ahead and advance Maelstrom all the way down to No Reprieve. We want to take Mauler's Resolve. If you get hit while holding a Great Axe and below 50% health, gain 40% stamina. So when our health starts dropping, and see when it says while holding. We can back bar into the great axe and recover our stamina. So we don't need to take the stamina recovery into the sword and board. We can take the stamina recovery into the great axe for the bar swap for the recovery. Okay, so kind of nice. We're going to take the heavy pull. Heavy attacks with a great axe pull foes closer to you. So not only is our abilities having pulls, but our heavy attacks will do as well. Gravity. After you cause a pull, your foes is held still 30% longer. Very important, right? So we literally can pull and control. All right, very, very nice. We're going to go over here into the passives. Greed. Light attacks with your great axe give you a 5% damage. Very important executioner speed. Hitting 2+ targets with a single great axe light attack swings grants 3 seconds of 20% haste. So we're going to move faster. Add that with the dexterity with some of the medium armor pieces. We're going to be lighter, stronger, faster. We're going to go with Death's Embrace. Great axe attacks against foes below 50% health. Penetrate armor. We all know about penetration, right? If you're from ESO, I've talked about penetration. So we definitely want to go ahead and take this, especially if this is going to be our main damage weapon. We're going to go ahead and take critical gains. Now this is important. When you make a critical hit with a great axe, heal yourself for 10% of the damage done. Okay? So dexterity axe builds are going to be a really, really strong. But how does crit scale? From base. That's where we take our strength. Right? Strength is definitely going to give us a lot of damaging effects. We're already over 100, so we get a plus 10 damage to melee weapon heavy attacks. Plus, we increase our encumbrance. Now, if you can get medium armor with dex, with just a little bit of extra strength, up to 150, you get a plus 50 stamina damage from melee weapon light and heavy attacks. That's a base. So we want to get to that point. We just want to get to a point where we get the 150 from the strength. And then we just want to go ahead and do what? Get 100 into the dex. In the constitution, we just want to get to the 200. We don't care about any of these other top end bonuses. Because why? Because as we're doing critical damage, and it's a high yield damage, we're going to self-sustain healing through critical gains and still have enough mitigation to shrug most attacks. Okay. The only thing about it is range superiority. Okay. Frustration. After one of your attacks is blocked, gain 15% damage for you for 10 seconds. And then, of course, we want to take feed. Great axe attacks against foes below 30% health. Once again, heal you for 10% of the damage done. So we get a heal on the board side for sustained with fortitude. Then we also get critical gains with feed. Now, that's important. We're going to take the bloodlust. You move 30% faster and deal 15% more damage when looking at a foe within. This is going to be, one of our ultimate abilities, because we want that speed to go ahead and lock in on ranged targets. We want to go ahead and get in there as fast as possible. So pretty much this is kind of the layout of what I'm thinking. And I think for the most part, it's going to be really good. And like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website out. 'Cause, like I said, I would go ahead and check this website Well, let's go ahead and get into other, specializations. So we have 190 points, and as you can see, you got 5 on each, right? So you can acquire 190 points. Now, it's kind of interesting because we'll get into the game here. Let me show you guys something. I think they did a good job when it comes down to, being able to customize your build layout. Pretty much it reminds me a lot of the UO days when I could build a mage tank. I had a caster, tank back in the day, and it didn't deal as much damage as like somebody in light armor, but it didn't need to. It really didn't need to do that. The whole idea behind it was mitigation and, range capability. Battle mage. That's what we had. And, I did battle mage because I just had enough mitigation where I wasn't squishy against what? Rogues. Any medium armor wear. See, the more you put into your damage, you become a glass cannon. So to be able to wear a few pieces of plate, right, just to mitigate enough, sure, it took my damage down, but I had enough sustain to do what? Blow most things up, unless they were a creature handler for some flipping reason. Pet classes, I swear to God, always pet classes. But yeah. So like I said, I think from a PvP perspective, this game does well. It's not going to be for everybody too because of the way the layout is. But and this is why this is a serious threat, guys. This is why this game is a serious threat to ESO. The customization you have as far as build layout is superior. I think the combat is more superior in ESO. The fact that you have more abilities, you don't have a global cooldown, a lot of you're more dependent on your resource management in Elder Scrolls. So in some ways I feel that Elder Scrolls combat system is superior, but as far as customization, it doesn't hold a candle to something like this. It just doesn't. I've been doing this, like, think about Dungeons and Dragons, how your stat sheet works. And then you take games like UO. I've been doing this since the beginning of everything. I did this when, before MMOs was even a thing, when we did online gaming, through just RPG, whatever. But, all right. No, it's not what I'm looking for. Right here. Now, it's kind of interesting, attributes. They list the weapons that have the best effects with the attributes, right? Hatchet, here's the thing. A lot of people that I've been seeing or hearing about have been definitely going with more hatchet. And of course, rapier, speed, I mean, that's going to be a factor as well. They usually go with a ranged melee combo of some sort. But the thing about it is, you see these effects, the higher your point attributes go, right? It's kind of important to understand that. Strength is always a base modifier. So usually people stack in a crit, they have a high in crit damage. This goes back to that rule, where they have a high crit chance, but their base is low because they don't typically build into strength. Now, becomes the issue. If you build into a dex build, you can take into a strength, but then what? You become glass cannon if you don't, put points into your constitution. If you divert points into the constitution to increase what? Health gain, you'll lose on one of the two other effects. So that is how all of these stats have always, since the beginning of time, have been affected. And these are where you find what? Any type of, like I said, you add two variables, you see no diminishing effect. You add a third variable, there's always going to be a diminishing effect. Because if it breaks down into a percentage, any type of percentage, right? And there always is going to be a percentage, 10%, 10%, you'll find a diminishing return. Okay? You're going to find it. It's unavoidable. Anytime you have a percentage, any percentage gain in anything that's what? Invested, there is a diminishing return. Whether you are aware or not. So I think this is kind of going to be interesting for players like me who understand these attributes more than most. And, how to basically say, I mean, seriously, you're going to give me, okay, there's a damage reduction at this point. This last one doesn't have any mitigation. There's no mitigation here for the final bonus. So why would I care to have it? You see what I'm saying? There's no mitigating effect. Now, do I need to take up to this? No, because I'm going to be self-sustaining, and to do that, I'm going to need X amount into this point just to get my extra critical. So, and then you can go into the gear as well. Now, usually Dex, not that I have confirmed that on this platform, on this game, but usually Dex also. There's my storage, so let's go in here for a second. All right. Do I have a piece of medium, heavy? Medium. All right. So you'll notice the armor rating goes down. All right. All right. Let me check something. Dexterity is currently 13. Now, my legs are heavy currently. Alright. And doesn't change it. Hold on. That would be fucked up. Oh, you know what? It might not have a stat adjustment into the gear. We'll have to check that out. It just has... Oh, no. +8 to strength. That's what I was looking for. Sorry. Okay, so we have strength to constitution. So gear... let's go to the board. That's what I was looking for. Stat adjustments. So they have medium strength gear, medium dex gear. I don't know if you can get heavy dex. Heavy dex gear would be optimal for me. And I think crafting, that's another reason why crafting is going to do so well on this game. No, I need to come over right there it is. Alright, so let's see if they have any Dexterity and intelligence. But see, I don't want the intelligence. But you can go with a heavy dex. Right? That's where these are the things I'm pointing out. Strength and intelligence. They see the customization in this game is going to be nuts because you can go with a strength and intel. Why? So you can go with a caster melee. I don't think Elder Scroll players understand what they're looking at, but old-fashioned UO players completely understand this, and it's like, oh shit, they did not. SWG players understand this. If you played SWG, you know what you're looking at. If you played UO, you know what you're looking at. Elder Scroll players, you're used to setups like World of Warcraft where you have bonus, but your stats are predetermined by set configurations, right? That's why I always go fortified brass medium, fortified brass light. That effect has this application to it. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. So literally, it's about either finding or crafting like this would be perfect for me. Dex Constitution, heavy, or you could go medium, right? Where they'd have Constitution strength. There's a strength. Dex is good for critical gain. It's not so good for base damage. Strength focus, that would be interesting. Constitution intelligence. Intelligence focus. Strength constitution. I told you guys. I told you. Lights out. Lights out. Lights out. Lights out. That's why this game is going to do well. If you guys don't know, now you know. This game is going to decimate the fuck out of ESO. The only thing that's going to prevent this game from decimating the fuck out of it is if they don't put in a small scale PvP. Everything's been set to large scale. Why? Because it's just designed to do that because they don't have that many abilities. Add one or two more abilities. Let's say they even add one to both effects, right? Let's say they add now small scale, 15 or even a 10-man battleground, right? With different maps, different whatever kills, whatever you want to do it. They start adding a smaller scale. They have large scale. Now they add small scale. It's game over. Let's see, Amazon gets real cheeky, right? And decides to map a controller. And if they map a controller for this game, and then convert it to one of the new console platforms, Xbox, and I would do PlayStation. There's not an MMO that's going to compete for PvP. There's just not. Guild Wars is toast. Guild Wars 2 is toast. It's toast. ESO is toast. They're toast. I'm not gonna lie. Now, like I said, I'm staying with ESO because I do like PvE and PvP. But I just don't see the PvP in Elder Scrolls being able to handle a lot of this. And that's what that's I need some food stuff. I'm always. But you're going to be harvesting. The crafting means something in this game. They're going to have PvE just for just for the purpose, and I literally mean this. Nobody skinned that. They killed it, but didn't skin it. That's one thing I also like. People don't utilize the resources. You're like, oh, okay, I'll take this shit. No food, though. Fuck. Um, I there, I think the swimming sucks. There's no swimming in this game. I don't like the fact that they don't have a mail system. There's a bug. Won't be able to get that one. Like I said, there's still some bugs that need to work out. Some of the physics, lighting too. There's some issues. This game's not ready for launch. They'll launch it. It'll put a couple people off. Server performance, I hate to say it, this is the best I've seen a beta in this as far as server performance. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this forever. I used to do this for companies. I haven't seen server performance like this in a decade or so from a beta point. Oh, and that's something to say. But overall, I think there's going to be a lot, and once again, resources, you know, leveling up, you're going to be gathering, you're going to be hacking, you're going to be why? Attribute gain. You're going to be crafting, all for attribute gain. One day you'll be farming up your dude, realize he's a pussy, and then be like, well, what did I do wrong? Well, go chop down some fucking trees, man. I'm always forgetting my food buff's not up either. Alright. I just want to avoid that boss, man. Everybody's like, it's not going to do good. I mean, the combat's slow. It's not even the point. It's not even the point of this game. Why is this game a threat? Well, I just showed everybody. Oh, nice. Yeah, you're going to be making potions. You're going to be doing all sorts of stuff in this game. It's going to eat up a lot of time. No racial passives to say this is best than that. If that's one thing. See, this is why I've ragged on ESO players forever. I've gotten the best years of my life ragging on their stupidity. Oh, come on. There it went. Alright. They're like, we understand the math, man. I suggest you guys go drop the video game and go play some D&D. There's a couple content creators I think that will definitely be getting into this type of game too. Trying to remember every button. Muscle memory on this game is not all the way there yet. Always. Uh-oh. It's a boss. It's the one thing I didn't want to see. Oh shit. It was nice knowing all of you. What? Score. Mini boss out for the count. All right. Got that part done. We're out of here. Got in here. Getting out's gonna be the trick. Yeah, no, this is serious, guys. I'm just gonna say. So if people want to ask me, you know, what's the big deal, you know? I mean, I think the missions are a little like kind of bland, repetitive, whatever have you. Not, the storyline's weak. The fact that they don't have trading, kind of lightweight weak. There's a lot of things that definitely could be improved upon. I don't think the game's ready. Especially when they're like there's a couple of things that there's going to be complaints down the road for this game. So the funny thing is it's not going to differ from any other MMO in that standard. It's just not. But the simple fact of it is, when it comes to customization, I hate to say it, it has an edge over most of your MMOs. Okay. So one more time, check the comments. If there's no comments, I'm going to let you guys go. As always, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. Have a good one, y'all.